Good morning, students. Today we shall study about the last method of asexual reproduction, that is vegetative propagation. Students, what is vegetative propagation? It is the simplest and common method of reproduction in plants. In this method, the vegetative parts of a plant, such as leaves, roots, stems, they produce new plants. These are called vegetative parts because they help in the growth and nutrition of the plant. Leaves, roots, stems, growth and nutrition ki help chestai. That is their natural role. But in this method, in some plants, these vegetative parts, they help in reproduction, and such a type of reproduction is called as vegetative reproduction or vegetative propagation. Got it? Now, this vegetative propagation may occur naturally. That is, by themselves plant produces new plants from these parts. That is natural. Then it may occur artificially. Artificially means with the help of man. Man may adapt different methods to propagate the plants from vegetative parts. They are cutting, layering and grafting. So we are going to see both the natural methods and artificial methods in this video. Shall we start? Yes. In plants like bryophyllum, the margins of the leaves contain notches and depressions. In these notches, there are buds. These buds are called as leaf buds because they are arising on leaf. These buds serve as reproductive structures. When these buds fall onto ground, they develop into new plants. Most of the times, these buds, they germinate while they are still attached to the mother leaf. ఇవి లీఫ్ కి అటాచ్ అయి ఉన్నప్పుడే జర్మినేట్ అయిపోయి న్యూ ప్లాంట్లెట్స్ ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేసేస్తాయి. వెన్ దీస్ ప్లాంట్లెట్స్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్ వెయిట్ ఫాల్ ఆన్ టు గ్రౌండ్, దే డెవలప్ ఇంటూ న్యూ ప్లాంట్స్. దిస్ ఈస్ హౌ ద లీవ్స్ ఆర్ యాక్టింగ్ యాజ్ రిప్రొడక్టివ్ స్ట్రక్చర్స్ ఇన్ bryophyllum. Similarly, the plants like carrot, dahlia and radish have storage roots. They store food materials in their roots. The carrot, radish and dahlia, that what we eat, are actually roots. Carrot is actually the root which has stored food. Got it, students? So these roots, these storage roots, they have buds over them. These buds are called as radical buds because they are present on roots. They are called as radical buds. They act as reproductive structures. These buds, during favorable conditions, germinate to produce the new plants. We can actually cut the buds and we can regrow the plants even in our gardens too. Got it? This is about roots. Now, stems. So, students, stems are of three types based on their location. Underground stems, subaerial stems and aerial stems. So, three types of stems are there. What are they? Underground, subaerial and aerial. Underground stems are those which are below the soil, which grow below the soil. Aerial stems are those which grow above the soil and are away from the soil. Soil ki chala duranga untai and above ga untai. Now, subaerial stems, they are also the stems which grow above the soil but are very near to the soil. If you see in grasses, this is the stem part. See here, these links are the stem parts. So these stems, they actually crawl on the ground, are on the ground. So such stems which are near to the soil and above the soil are called as subaerial stems. Got it? So stems are of three types: underground, subaerial and aerial. Got it? Now we shall see how the stems act as reproductive structures. Students, underground stems and subaerial stems are the examples for natural vegetative propagation. Let us see the underground stems first and then we move to subaerial stems. The underground stems are of four types: tubers, rhizomes, bulbs, corms. Tubers are seen in potatoes. So what are tubers? Let us see here. So this is the potato plant. In this, the green axis is the aerial stem because it is above the soil. And this white portion is not the root, it is the underground stem. And this underground stem has branches like that of the aerial stem. See here, this is the branch, underground stem branch. These branch tips they are having potatoes. Got it? So the plant prepares food materials and store it in the branch tips of underground stems. So our vegetable potato is nothing but an underground stem. If you observe potato, you find an eye-like structures over it. In the eye-like structures, there are buds. These buds help in producing new plants. So that is the reason if you cut the potato at the eye region and put in soil, you will get new potato plant. Got it? So this is about tubers. Now what are rhizomes? Rhizomes are also underground stems that store food materials, but unlike potatoes, they grow horizontally. So did you observe the ginger? How does it look like? It's an horizontal structure. Over it you find several lines, and these lines are called as nodes. On the nodes you find small buds. These buds help in reproduction. Got it? So that is about rhizomes. Now what are bulbs? Bulbs are seen in onion. If we observe an onion plant, we find an aerial stem as well as underground stem like that of potatoes and gingers. See here, this is the underground stem. This discoid structure is the underground stem. These are the roots, and on this stem we find the arrangement of fleshy leaves. Overall this looks like a bulb. So this is the structure. This bulb structure is the vegetable that what we eat as onion, right? So now this stem has buds. Look here. These are the buds. These are the lateral buds on the stem. So on this discoid stem we find lateral buds. These lateral buds, they produce new plants during the favorable conditions. Hope you understood. So this is about bulbs. Now what are corms? Corms are seen in colocasia. Colocasia means chama gaddalu or chama dumpalu under. So what are these corms? Corms are nothing but underground stems which grow vertically and store food materials. So rhizomes, they store food materials and grow horizontally, whereas corms grow vertically and store food materials. Like rhizomes, these also have nodes. These lines represent nodes, and on the nodes we find scale leaves as well as buds, and from these buds new plants arise. Hope you understood. So this is about underground stems which help in vegetative propagation. Now subaerial stems. Subaerial stems are often weak, and so they grow just above the soil and look as if they are creeping on the ground. So there are two types, runners, stolons. Runners are seen in grasses. If you observe the grass plant, you find a creeping stem. So this is the stem. And this stem at each node produces roots and leaves. And if the stem is cut between the nodes, each node develops into a new plant. This is about runners. Now what are stolons? Stolons are seen in strawberry and jasmine plants. You know jasmine plant, right? The stem is very weak. So if you consider this as jasmine plant, the stems which are near to soil, the lower branches which are near to soil, they sometimes bend to the ground, and at the point of contact with the soil they produces roots which then develop new stems over it. Now if there is any breakage on this stem, both the plants they get separated and they live independently. This is about stolons. So I hope you understood how stems, leaves, roots propagate or reproduce vegetatively by natural means. In next video, we'll be understanding how vegetative propagation can be done artificially. Thank you, students.